Hey, how are you how are you going? Oh my word, this is going to be a fun podcast. No, for real. So guys, boy, do I have a model to share with you today. I was up at 5 a.m., 5 a.m. And it was because I had the sudden realization, I don't know if this has ever happened to you before, that I completely forgot something this week. I used to be in a different ward, and then, well, it wasn't really a different ward. They had everything got so big that they split us. So it was my old ward, and I had a ministering sister, and she's an elderly lady. She's to the point now where she can't drive anymore. So I used to minister to her, and I would visit her all the time with my daughter, who at that time was so little that she didn't go to school yet. So she'd always come and this woman would get out toys for her. And anyway, we just love her, but I haven't seen her for a long time. We went and visited her, gave her some flowers. We realized that her birthday was coming up. That was this past week on Wednesday, BTW. And I was supposed to take her to lunch with my daughter. And she was probably sitting there waiting for us to come because we had arranged to pick her up. And I woke up this morning and realized I had not only not picked her up, but forgotten her birthday. And she's too sweet and way too kind to call me like some of my other friends and be like, guess what? You forgot me. But so anyway, I was ready to call her. This is the thing. I go straight to the action line. I'm like, I need to bring her a treat. I need to like call her. I need to fix this. But it was 5 a.m. So I couldn't do that. So guess what I got to do? The spiritual work before, which we have talked about. This is why I do a model on my brain every single day. And I bet you can guess what my model was this morning. Forget to pick her up for her birthday, this woman. And my thought was something along the lines of, I cannot believe that I forgot this. And feeling was embarrassed. And then action line is spinning in thoughts of like, just this is bad. And the result was feeling awful about myself and what I'm doing in my life and that I can't get it together. Right. So, this is where we do our work, our spiritual work, which is our intentional model. The unintentional is things that happen and that we don't want to happen and that we wish didn't happen. So, my new model is the same one, like forgot her on Wednesday. And my thought is, and these are the thoughts that I go to all the time. So, use them, steal them. I'm a human in this world, I'm just mortal. I make mistakes. The second one is, I forgot to pick her up for her birthday, and it's okay. The next one that I've gotten better at is I forgot to pick her up for her birthday, and I love me anyway. And this is the one I'm working on presently right now. And it is I did the thing, forgot her, and I love and accept me. Okay, so those are ones you can use every time you do things like this, which is probably very infrequent compared to me. I am really excited about this subject today. I can't wait. I can't wait. Our brains are wired to protect us. Our minds make negative or low emotion mean that something is wrong. These protective tendencies often put our bodies into a fight or flight mode. Fight or flight mode has always been a part of the human experience. It's helped us survive as a species. When we had to worry about lions and tigers and bears attacking and killing us, this mode was necessary. Fight or flight is caused by your sympathetic nervous system. It's best known for its role in responding to dangerous or stressful situations. So think child running out in front of a car in the street. In these situations, your sympathetic nervous system activates to speed up your heart rate, deliver more blood to areas of your body that need more oxygen, or other responses to help you get out of danger. Today, in the world we live in now, we have very few instances when we actually need fight or flight, that we are truly in mortal danger. But our minds have evolved to the point, or haven't evolved, sorry, to the point where our sympathetic nervous system doesn't kick in. So it's still kicking in all the time in our world right now when we live in nice, warm, safe houses with locks on the doors. Our brains still think that this world's very scary and it needs to protect us. So, one of the most common experiences we notice our fight or flight response ramp up is when we speak in front of a crowd or perform in front of a lot of people or are separated from the group in some way. Our brain equates this as potentially harmful because when we had to survive out in nature, being separate meant you would likely be picked off if a predator was near. Social anxiety is caused when we think thoughts about what other people are thinking about us. Maybe someone said something that was critical to us in the past. It could have been family members, our teachers, or peers, or even ourselves. Negative self talk. And we remember this for years and spin on it and repeat it after the fact. Our brains think it's really important and protective. Our fight or flight response kicks in to tell us to fit in with the crowd, make ourselves invisible, or keep ourselves small to stay safe. My body has gone into fight or flight when I heard that someone was going somewhere and I wasn't invited, or when I scrolled social media and I compared myself to others. My brain allowed my brain to make it mean that I don't measure up, that I'm not good enough, and therefore I'm alone and vulnerable, is what my brain thinks. I've had my sympathetic nervous system ramp up when I lose something valuable. I accidentally left my cell phone in another town while playing pickleball once, and I realized it an hour later. I had been doing a lot of work on allowing the emotion of anxiety during this period of time. So I noticed driving to look for my phone that my body was super anxious. I named the emotion that it was anxiety, and I tried to figure out what thought was causing this anxiety that was so strong. I was surprised to realize how many dramatic thoughts were running wild in my brain. I was thinking thoughts like, my husband is going to kill me for losing my new phone. The building will be locked and I won't be able to get in. Someone has stolen it. I don't have enough money for a new phone. I'm still trying to pay off this one. I don't have time for this today. On and on and on. My brain was going crazy. Literally, the lion is going to eat you. I would never have realized this unless I took a minute to look at the situation intentionally and try to understand why my heart was beating like crazy, my stomach was in knots, my jaw was tight, and my breath was shallow. The crazy thing about this is that all my thoughts were irrational, but my brain didn't seem to realize it. On the way to find my phone, my emotional and mental health depended on me becoming aware of what my brain was offering me. When my subconscious mind is left unsupervised, it can be a real mess. And this is true as far as I have seen with all my clients. So, in any case, I first just allowed the anxiety to be there. I watched it, I waited for it to calm down. I took some deep, calming breaths to tell my body that this was not as big a deal as my brain was believing. After watching my anxiety inside my body, my parasympathetic nervous system started to kick in. Your parasympathetic nervous system is a network of nerves that relaxes your body after stress or danger. It also helps run life-sustaining processes like digestion during times when you feel safe and relaxed instead of a fight or flight response. So the parasympathetic nervous system restores and gives your body rest and digest response. The quickest way for me to help my body move from fight or flight when it's unnecessary is to breathe deeply. And it's easy and it's just quick. It's right there. You don't need anything. I may say something in my mind after I've done some deep breaths, like, it's okay, nothing has gone wrong here. Everything's going to be fine. I tell my freaked out brain the truth. I tell my brain that it's being a little dramatic. So, for example, if I hadn't found my phone, my husband wouldn't kill me. It would be an inconvenience and I would figure it out. I would figure out how to get into the building. If someone stole it, I would need to replace it. And if I did, my children would not starve. I just might need to buy a new one, and I might not get to some of the things that I had planned for the day. The crazy part is that after all that mental and emotional work on the way, I mean, it was a couple cities over, so maybe 15 minutes. I did all this on the way in the car. I found my phone in the parking lot in a puddle anyway. It still worked out and everything was fine. I considered this a huge win. I could have beat myself up mentally for freaking out so bad over nothing. I found that I now have zero tolerance for being mean to myself anymore. There's no upside. Instead, I just remind myself that I'm a human and human brains are wired to help me keep me safe. And that's why it was freaking out, but it's okay. The good news is that most of the time, our fight or flight brain gets working in situations that it's only a perceived threat, not real threats. Your mind's thinking thoughts, you're feeling anxious, and nothing is truly threatening your life. Without supervision, our bodies and minds can be in a constant state of fight or flight. I actually remember the concept of my sympathetic brain and nervous system because I feel sympathy for my poor brain and my body. They are both trying to protect me, they are trying to help, but it's not helpful. I actually don't need it 99% of the time. For instance, if I don't do an amazing job on a presentation, or I didn't get an A in that class, or I didn't get a compliment, I'm still going to be okay. If someone doesn't like me or include me, it's going to be okay. If my spouse doesn't behave the way I want, it's going to be okay. My goal for many years has been to be more conscious and deliberate about my thoughts. As soon as I start to feel anxious, I ask myself, why? What is the problem, brain? And that's what I did in the car. When I'm able to look at anxiety and just witness it, it's happening in my body, I gain an emotional intelligence. I'm just feeling anxiety, but I don't have to become anxious or become overwhelmed. I can just feel it and then I can release it and it can be gone. Being a witness of my anxiety and knowing what it is reduces it greatly. And this is true for any difficult emotion. I'm just saying anxiety because I've had a lot of issues with it and I have worked on anxiety a lot. So I want to switch gears now here. I want to explain the concept of buffering and tie it to what I've already shared. So, buffering is what we do when we are feeling any low emotion and we want to escape it. Instead of acknowledge it, accept it, and allow it. When we are trying to escape our emotions, we resist, repress, react, or avoid them. I believe the most common that I'm watching and seeing time and time again in clients is to avoid, which is buffering. Buffering distracts us from our emotional reality. My buffer when I was suffering in my marriage was to eat a king size candy bar a day. I literally went to the store and bought 7. So I would have, when, if I went shopping for the week, I'd get 7 because I needed 7. It was really, truly my buffer. Whenever I felt negative emotions come up, I would go eat a piece of chocolate in my closet and I ate my emotions of frustration, pain, anger, and hurt. Eating chocolate is not the problem or a buffer unless it becomes a net negative in our lives. This is how we know if something is a buffer or just if it's something that we like to do. Like, for instance, you might just want to watch a movie on Netflix and you have the time and it's fine and it's great. But in this case, the net negative was that I gained an unhealthy amount of weight. Buffers come in all shapes and sizes. Lots of buffers involve overing. Here are just a few examples: overeating, overworking, oversleeping, overdrinking, overreading, overspending, overexercising, overgaming, overcleaning, and busyness. This is really common with moms when they're trying to avoid emotion. The overcleaning and overbusyness is almost always in the action line, which isn't a terrible thing, but if it can become a net negative, if it is helping you escape from all your emotions that you need to deal with, it's a problem. Over consuming social media, YouTube or Netflix, over porn, over drug use. I mean, it gets worse and worse. Some of these things really cause you to numb out and definitely escape reality, right? And cause you a net negative in your life. So when we buffer, instead of feeling our emotions, we actually compound our issues. Not only do we have a rough marriage, but now we are overweight. Not only do we feel lonely and unacceptable, but now we are an alcoholic. Not only do we feel unloved and unappreciated, but now we have a huge credit card bill to pay off because we went shopping to feel better. One thing about buffering is it's very temporary. It's a quick fix, but in the long run, it is going to cause you so much more trouble. What if instead we could just sit with the emotions? When we avoid our emotions, we are literally going to a place that is against our current reality. And it's just important to remember that the emotion is not going away. It's just being pushed away. You are escaping it, and it's still lurking there in the shadows and will show up in other negative ways in your life. Notice that you are rejecting half of your life, the part that is painful and uncomfortable, the part that we signed up for when we came to this earth. The opposition in all things, that whole principle, that is very real. So, what can you do instead? My clients will tell me it hurts. Yes, it does. Let it hurt. Let it be there. Stick it out. Just sit with it. It's not fun. It's also not going to kill you. Instead of compounding your suffering, you will be releasing it. You will reduce it. I personally believe that Christ already suffered for all these painful emotions, and we are all going to experience them in this life. No one's getting out of it. When we resist our reality and pain and don't acknowledge that it's there, then we suffer and Christ suffers. But if we process the emotion, my experience and that of many of my clients has been that Christ takes it from us. Because of his infinite atonement, we don't both have to suffer. He already suffered for you. Let him take it. He wants you to let him take it. That is why there are so many scriptures about him inviting us to give our pain and hurt to him. This is just one. He says in Matthew 11:29-30, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. This is how Christ overcame. He is someone who can take all of this from us. He's the only someone who can do that. Now I'm going to circle back around to the beginning of the podcast. I believe that our nervous system responses started when Adam and Eve ate the fruit. They left a peaceful and a protected existence and entered a fallen world. Part of the effects of that fall include our fight and flight and rest and digest responses. The natural man was also introduced. We know from scripture that the natural man is an enemy to God. I personally believe that the natural man is really just all Satan's lies that limit us from our divine potential. These thoughts create emotions that take us away from our true identity. We are so scared of anxiety or anger or sadness, loneliness, that we hide, we repress, we reject, we avoid. And one place I see this often is with those clients that I coach on weight loss. Clients come to me to obtain optimal health and weight. I love that they want to improve their physical health. I love that they are helping their physical bodies by eating better food and less refined sugar and flour. I love that they are setting goals to move their bodies and take better care of their amazing bodies. I tell these clients the same thing I told myself when I was losing weight. I don't believe that Heavenly Father really cares about the number on the scale. I really don't. He, of course, wants us to be healthy and take care of our bodies that house our spirits. Super important. Is the only body we've got in this life, right? But I think he cares infinitely more about our spiritual work, which is the T and the F lines in our model, our thoughts and our feelings. So our C line, the facts might be the number on the scale, for instance. This is just an example. But our best T line to create optimal weight might be I am loved and accepted exactly as I am today, right now, by me and by God. That is the work before the action line. The F line might be that you feel cherished, that you feel loved, that you feel enough. I don't think enough is a feeling. I think that's a thought. What would be enough as a feeling? I guess accepted, just something so much better than what we do to ourselves as we're trying to improve in our lives in anything, not just weight, but anything. The mental and emotional work must always precede the weight loss in the action line and the result line of our model. That's why I love that it starts with CTFAR. That is the actual order of things. First, the mental and emotional work, and then the action line is going to be so much easier. Remember, in Moses 3:5, I think I said this in the last podcast, but I'm going to repeat it. We're told that God created all things spiritually before they were naturally upon the earth first. He's the ultimate creator. So if we want to create a weight loss goal, his method should be our methods. Instead of trying to beat ourselves better with hating on our bodies, we can show so much love and acceptance for the amazing body we have right now today. Heavenly Father wants us to know that we are loved exactly as we are. And we won't be more valuable or worthy when we lose a few pounds. The world has beat us down with their ads and their images, and we connect our value to external things that mean nothing compared to how we show up, how we treat others, who we really are, and how well we are at really loving ourselves and loving others and God. Let's call social anxiety, which so many of my clients have, what it really is. Satan's lies telling us that we weigh too much, have too many bulges and pudges, can't wear this or that, will say the wrong thing, that others won't accept us, that we just don't make the cut, that we aren't worth much. This is all nonsense. It's simply garbage that was introduced at the fall that we need to sift through our minds and start collecting, get all that garbage and dump it in a trailer and take it to the local dump. As we do this work of seeing ourselves as we truly are, we can't help but start to show up as our amazing, unique, and authentic, beautiful selves. This may seem like a long shot for you. It's not. I was where you are. My husband, family, and friends who know me and have known me for years would all agree that I have changed so much for the better in just the last few years. It won't take as long as you think to arrive at the dump and leave all the garbage behind. Why is that? Why is it so much easier? Because God's truth is 100 times more powerful than Satan's lies. True thoughts stick so quickly when you do this work. Half the time, you'll just really get this thought from God that He's given you, and you reject all the rest of the garbage forevermore. Like you don't even go there. And when it comes into your head, you can't believe you ever believed it in the first place. It's so ridiculous. This is the work, just the spiritual work, which is your thought line and your feeling line. Think better thoughts, feel your difficult emotions, allow them instead of resisting them. And also, as you think better thoughts, your feelings will just automatically be better. But pray to see yourself as God sees you. Ask Him to show you, and then practice believing whatever He shows you. As always, seek and expect miracles. Every day is another opportunity to see God's beautiful handiwork in your life. It can unfold in your mind and in your heart, and then it will unfold in your life. We'll see you next week, guys. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did and you think it would help someone, please like it on YouTube and share it, and make sure to leave a review. And we will see you next week.